Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Paper Crafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've all decided to join me today. So today we're going to use our basic card template that we made on Tuesday to make some thank you cards. And we're going to use our little written recipe that's in here. So this is a pretty simple card, just has some pattern paper on the outside. Either the same pattern paper like we're going to use on the card we're going to make right now, or different that I'm going to show you some examples. So stick around to the end. I've got some really pretty ones. So before we get started, if I could ask you to hit that like and subscribe on this video, and make sure you ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload. And I really do appreciate all of you being here. So let's go ahead and get started. So we've got a card base here that is Misty Moonlight, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to give it a good burnish here. And I've got a piece of white for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to stamp on that here in a minute. Piece of pattern paper for the outside that's 4 by 5 1/4. And I've got 3 strips of pattern paper here that are 1 by 3 1/4. And so we're going to use the same pattern on this one, but you could use a different pattern. This particular one that's on the back of this one, I don't really care for with this. I like it, it's pretty enough, but just not with this. But you could use a different pattern paper, or you could use the same. And I've got 3 pieces of cardstock here that are 1 1/4 by 3 1/2, and we're going to mount each one of our pattern pieces on here. And then I've got a sentiment piece that I cut out of basic white, and this is using the Spotlight, one of the Spotlight on Nature dies. So as you can see, you can use any focal point, doesn't have to be a circle, and I'll show you how we use something a little, well, maybe not in this one. I think we used all circles in our examples, but you could use a diamond or a square or a rectangle or whatever you wanted. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's get our piece of pattern paper here onto our card base. Let me just get the glue a-flowing here. I think this one's about empty, which is not good. Maybe. Might already be empty. Oh my goodness. I thought we had one more card in here, but guess not. Alright, let me grab a new one, because we need glue in order to function. Okay, so let's try now with a brand new one not to make a mess, because we all know how that is when you open a brand new bottle of glue. You end up getting way more than you bargained for. Okay, so I'm going to open this up just so I can better see where to align this. So I'm just going to center this up here, making sure it's centered on all sides. And we'll give this a good press down. Okay, now each one of our little pattern pieces here, we're going to stamp on that, so I'm going to put that over there, are going to get mounted onto this cardstock. So we'll just get each one of those centered up on their respective piece of Misty Moonlight. Making sure we're getting that as straight as possible. And we'll give that a good push. And then we'll do this one. Okay, one more. Okay, so those look good. Let's make sure we give them a good press. Alright, next we need to put these on the front of our card. Uh-oh. Well, that one didn't stick yet. Hang on, we shouldn't have... That should not have moved on us, but it did. It doesn't want to play today. There we go. Alright. I'm going to put that one here. And this one down here. Now, we'll go ahead and do these flat. You could pop them up on dimensionals if you wanted to, but I think I'll pop our sentiment piece up instead. So I'm just going to kind of just barely lay these down. I'm not going to push yet until I make sure I can get my spacing right between the three and on the top and the bottom. So we're just going to kind of eyeball that, and then we'll make adjustments here in just a second. Okay, so we want to make sure we have equal spacing here and here, which I think we probably could go up just a little bit with that one. And then we'll move this one up, and then I think that looks pretty darn good. So I'm going to give these a good press. Hopes that they stick. Okay, so there's that. Oops, I keep moving that one. There we go. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for just a minute while we do our stamping. So, we are going to stamp in Misty Moonlight. And on the outside, we're going to use some of the stamps that came in this month's Paper Pumpkin. So I'm going to do thank you so much on the outside. And then the little things you do for me mean so much on the inside. And you can use whatever stamps you have. And you can use, whatever paper you have as well. This is one that it'd be good to just use up some, maybe scraps of paper that you have. Or something that you're just trying to use up. Because if you're like me, the rule is you have to get rid of something before you can buy something new. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm running out of room to put the stuff. So, let's kind of get our circle somewhat lined up here. And we'll go ahead and get this down. Okay, so we've got thank you so much. There we go. And then our inside stamp here, we'll ink that up. And I'm going to line this up with one of the lines on the glass mat so I can hopefully start with this straight. Gives me at least a fighting chance to get this down straight. No promises, as my oldest would say, but hopefully. There we go. Alright, let's put our ink away. We don't want any ink disasters today. So I'm going to get this on the inside. And then we'll pop our sentiment piece up on some dimensionals. And get some bling on the front of this, and we will be good to go. Okay, so we're going to get this put in there. Perfect. Okay, let's trade our glue in for dimensionals. So we will put some of these on here. Oops. Okay, and then we'll get our backs off. And go ahead and center this up. Basically, I'm going to try to center top to bottom, but I want it to be more to the right-hand side than completely centered. So maybe just like that. Let's make sure it's straight, though. Okay. So there's that. Now, some bling. I've got some Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots that have this Misty Moonlight color. So we're going to use these because I'm trying to use some of this stuff up as well. It's not just paper that's overtaking my life, but it's all of it. Oh my goodness, let's see. I need to get a new end for my take your pick tool that has fresh putty in it, because I think this one is basically out of putty, which is not good. So we're going to use a big one and a little one there, and we'll do another little one over here. Whoop. Not on my finger though. There we go. Okay, so there's that. Pretty simple card, didn't take us too long. Show you that, there you go. All right, so let's take a look at the other examples that I made. So these other three actually came, well, a couple of these came from an old paper pack that was from last year called Serene something or another. But this was just beautiful paper. So I used the same stamps on all of these, just different paper, pattern paper. Here's one that's got Old Olive as its main color. Kind of, some of these look kind of springy, because, you know, we're all hoping that spring gets here sooner than later, right? And then here's one that has some little doves on it, just kind of cute. So there are our examples and our one that we made today. So again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a crafty day. Bye.